to all dear students. I am Dr. Soumya Das, Associate Professor from Noida Institute of Engineering and Technology, Pharmacy Institute, Greater Noida. Today, we will start our first lecture of the subject Human Anatomy and Physiology 1, and its subject code is BP 101T. This subject is under Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University. So, students, let's start with the topics like definition of anatomy. What does the word anatomy means? Again, the definition of physiology, pathology, pathophysiology. Then we will come up to the scope. What is the scope of these terminologies related with the living tissues, or we can say living system. Then levels of structural organization. In this we will study what are the various hierarchy levels of structural organization and how it is correlated with the living body systems. After that we will discuss the basic life processes, the needs to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Homeostasis, this is, I hope, new word to you. This is how our body maintains the internal healthy environment. After that, we will discuss the various basic anatomical terminologies which describe our the characteristics of healthy human being. So, let's start. Start with the introduction to the human body. The various terminology starting the subject name Human Anatomy and Physiology. So, first we will understand the term anatomy, what exactly it means. Anatomy is the study, or it is the branch of biology, or we can say branch of science which deals with the structure of the human body and how the various parts of our body is in closely correlationship with its various constituent parts. Now, coming to the another term physiology. It is the branch of science which deals with the study of how the body systems collectively work and showing various physiological changes and the ways in which their integrated activities maintains the healthy smooth lifestyle and the individual health system. The term pathology is the study of various abnormalities, and the term pathophysiology considers how this pathological innervation inside the healthy human host cells, they can affect the vital body functioning, which often leads to ailments or serious illnesses. Now, coming to the various levels of structural complexity. So, students, you will see here a big triangular diagram which clearly elaborates you the various levels of structural organization. We can say it is a hierarchical level of organization. So, starting with the upper apical topmost part of this diagram, you will see two small white circular balls which are two hydrogen atoms. So, we can easily say the atoms are the smallest unit, and when the two hydrogen atoms bind with the bigger one, red one, that is the oxygen atom, when these two small atoms bind and they form a molecule, the name of the molecule is H2O, that is water molecule. So, here the chemical level starts, atoms bond to form a molecule with the three-dimensional structure. Same like that water molecule, we are having so many molecules inside our body like oxygen, two molecules of oxygen combined which we are inhaling, then CO2 which we are exhaling during respiration. Then after the chemical level, the second step, you will see how the two hydrogen atoms closely bind with the oxygen atom and forms a water molecule. So, coming to the cellular level, after the atom level, the second is the molecular level, when several molecules combine and they form a cell. So, cell is the basic fundamental, or we can say it is a building block of a healthy living organism. So, cellular level, it is a variety of molecules when gets combined to form several fluids or organelles which float in the cytoplasm inside a body cell. So, this is the cellular level. See the diagram, students. I will show here one diagram of smooth muscle cell. So, this is the single smooth muscle cell. You will see this is a uninucleated. In the center, the purple color is the nuclei which contains the genetic heredity material, which is DNA in the eukaryotes. Eukaryotes means the true the cells or the tissues having true nucleus, the prominent nucleus. So, we all are eukaryotes in nature. Then beside this nucleus, you will see there are cell organelles. This we will discuss in our next lecture, the cell and its function. Then you will see here the cell fluids, which is cytoplasm inside the smooth muscle cells, and other organelles are located in various different type of cells. But here I am only taking you an example of smooth muscle cell. So, when different cells or sometimes the similar cells gets combined, they forms a bigger hierarchical level which is known as the tissues. So, this is the tissue level after cellular level, and tissue level it is a community of similar cells and forming a body tissues. So, see this diagram, this is the smooth muscle cell tissue. So, many cells bind together, and you will see there are layers and layers of smooth muscle tissue having single nucleus in each cell moiety. And after that, tissue level come to the organ level. Here sometimes two or sometimes more than two, it may goes more and more different tissues when combined and forming a organ. Like that, in our body several organs are developed. So, here I am giving you an example of urinary bladder. See the diagram. At the terminal end portion of the urinary bladder, it is made up of smooth muscle tissue, students, and at the bottom, that is the basement of urinary bladder, you will see there is the involvement of skeletal muscle. So, from this diagram, it is very much clear that the bladder is made up of skeletal system, skeletal tissue, skeletal muscle as well as the smooth muscles. So, this completes the organ level. After the organ level, come to the organization system level, or it is also known as the organ system level. Not only a single organ, but a mixture, a complex of various organs when function together in a similar fashion or a similar manner to perform a specific physiological change or any activity, to perform any living body activity, we need a organ system level. So, this is the urinary tract system. You will see two kidneys, the right hand side as well as the left hand side, right kidney and left kidney, and beneath the kidney there is two yellow tube like structures which is the ureter, and after the ureter the inverted triangular diagram is the urinary bladder, and beneath the bladder there is a tube like structure, that is urethra. So, organ system level, you will see two or sometimes more than two organs work closely in close proximity together, we can say, to perform the functions of a body system. So, this is the organ level system functioning, and at the bottom of this triangular diagram the organizational level. Many organ systems when work in harmoniously together to perform the function of the independent organism is the organization level. See the diagram, how the human being is drinking a glass full of water by using its hand, which is basically here the skeletal muscles involvement, then the mouth, there is oral cavity, smooth muscles involvement, all different cells, muscles, tissues, when work together in close proximity, it comprises the organizational level to achieve or to get a work done properly or systematically in a independently in a organization system. So, this is the summary of various levels which we had discussed in our previous slide, the levels of structural complexity, starting with the smallest structural level that we already know, it is the atoms. So, when two or more than two atoms when combined to form a molecule, atoms when combined to form a molecule of which there is a vast range of molecules present inside the living body. Now, cells are, we all know cells are the smallest independent unit of living matter. I hope you all know the term cell. The cell, students, it is the Latin term. It means the small room, okay? And the term cell is discovered and coined by a scientist named Robert Hooke in the long back in the year 1665, okay? So, cell is considered as the fundamental structural biological unit of life, and it is the smallest building block of the living body. So, coming to the slide, cells are the smallest independent unit of living matter, and there are trillions, sometimes more than trillions of different type of cells are present in the human body. In complex organism, like we can give an example which is better to understand our body, the human body, various cells with similar structures as well as functions are found together, and when they combine they form a tissue. So, here also when similar or we can say sometimes different type of tissues when joined or combined they form a different organs. Organs are made up of a number of different tissues and they have evolved to carry out a specific function. Specific organ is having their specific spatial anatomical physiological features to carry out their special or we can say specified functions. So, after different organs there is an organization system. So, the organization system of a number of organs and also there is an involvement of various different type of tissues that together contribute to one or more several needs, that is basic needs of the living body. So, what are the basic needs of a healthy human living system? So, coming to this slide, the basic life processes. The first most important life process is to obtain, procure food as well as oxygen for our respiration from the nearby surrounding or we can say from the environment. So, after that the body living system perform by using the food and the oxygen and water molecules, the fluid which is present. We all know our human body, which is we can say approximately 70 kg body, it contains the 70% of fluid in our body. So, by using these different items food, oxygen and water molecules, our body or living body perform various different type of chemical reactions to provide energy. If we can't have energy, we can't able to do or carried out any function. So, we need our cells, tissues, organs, organization systems, all different parts needs ATP in the form of energy to get the work done. So, after the chemical reactions are performed, this is done by various metabolic pathways by the use of several enzymes which carried out these chemical reactions. So, we all know the term metabolism is the summation of sum of anabolism means the joining, binding of two small or sometimes bigger molecules while the second term is catabolism, cut down. It means the breakdown, lysis, breakdown of some complex molecules into the smaller parts so that we can get the energy to carry out our normal basic life processes. So, after that metabolism, the term came is elimination, or we can say the excretion of the unused, undesirable, or we can say the waste products from our body. If it is not eliminated properly or completely from the living tissue, living system, it will cause a toxicity. It will leads to hazardous reactions in our tissues and cells and organ system. So, there is most important pathway, the elimination of waste products is through liver. Several organs carried out this function through liver, kidney, okay, and roots like skin also, which by carried out perspiration, the waste materials are excreted out from our body in the urine, in the fecal matter, defecation ke case mein, and after that the ear, eye, lacrimal secretions, these nasal secretions, these are all having the unused or sometimes the waste products which are eliminated from the healthy human being. So, after the elimination, there is the body carried out the synthesis of different proteins which is required for the further production of enzymes, receptors to receive the signals to carry out the various other mechanisms for the survival of healthy human being. So, the synthesis of different types of proteins along with other cellular components, we can say it is as cellular components means cell organelles, and these are required for the proper cell growth development as well as its well functioning. So, controlling the exchange material through the various cell membrane. The cell membrane is also known as the plasma membrane. Different cells, sometimes these are nearby located same cells or sometimes different cells, they can exchange their genetic or their inherited material, or they can communicate with cell to cell via different mechanism. This we will discuss in our later lectures. So, when the cells maintain or exchange their materials like for example, small ions, proteins, molecules, different substances, they can grow further and carried out their specific functions. Then circulation and movement of these ions, glucose, sugar moieties materials inside our body occurs to carry out the structural as well as functional growth and their responsibilities, to fulfill their responsibilities. And the most important part of the basic life processes is the reproduction. Reproduction, re means again to produce, to form the gametes and zygotes to give the newborn or the offsprings. So, in this reproduction part, we have to keep in mind only the muscle and the nervous cells. These are not involved in the reproduction process for the maintenance of healthy human lifestyle. Now, coming to the terminology, the new term, I think this is new to you, homeostasis. So, homeostasis, homeo word came from the term that is homo sapiens, body. So, it is a condition in which the internal environment of our living body remains relatively constant without any change. Constant means not influence with the external environment, it is having same mechanism to work their function properly despite changes from the external environment. So, homeostasis is achieved via negative as well as positive feedback mechanism. Let us discuss these two mechanisms one by one in detail. Coming to the first one, negative feedback mechanism, it includes most of the homeostatic control mechanism. It shut off the original stimulus sometimes or it reduces its intensity so that the internal body environment works like a household thermostat. The best example for explaining the negative feedback mechanism is the control of blood pressure during hypertension and the temperature regulation by the hypothalamus from the brain part. Now, coming to the positive feedback system, it increases the original stimulus to push the variable pathways further. Okay. So, the example is of positive feedback system is the increase in oxytocin. This is a endocrine hormone released during the birth of a newborn. So, these are to control the pathways of negative and positive feedback mechanism, we have to first know about the various important components which can regulate this positive and negative feedback systems. So, there are three main parts. The first one is the sensors which detects the stimulus, or we can say the external stimuli or stress, any change, the external environment change, the sensors can, this is the input unit, the sensor can perceive it and give message to the control center. The body control center is the CNS and the spinal cord, okay, the vertebral column. So, the sensors gives message to the control center, that is to the brain, which receives information from this sensors and send same message to the effector cells, or we can say effector organs. Now, the effector which receives the message from the control central unit, and this produces a required response which reestablishes the homeostasis. Means when there is a abnormal condition occurring inside the body, this via this pathway, sensor, control center and the effector mechanism, the body regain its internal healthy internal environment, that is it achieve their homeostasis. So, see this diagram, this flow chart clearly explains how the negative feedback system works. So, this is in the first flow chart. See students, the uppermost part is the stimulus, stimuli, the external environment give any message or stimulus. So, here you will see the effector organ or the cells give message or stimuli, it gives a impulse to the stimulus generation, and this stimulus give message to the sensor cells or organs. This sensor sense their stimulus and give message to the central control unit, that is the brain, and then the brain orders to release or sometimes to inhibit the release of various endogenous release mediators to suppress or reduce its intensity by the effector organ. So, this is the general negative feedback loop. Coming to this diagram students, this is the how negative feedback actually works. So, when our body temperature gets exceeded, our body temperature is around 37 degrees Celsius if we are healthy, if we achieve a normal healthy homeostasis. But if it exceeds beyond the 37 degrees Celsius or it is 39, 40, 42, then what happens students? Our nerve cells which are located beneath the epidermis or inside we can say the skin, as well as various nervous cells in the brain, it can give message to the temperature regulatory centers in the hypothalamus of our brain. This is the control center unit. Then what brain does? It give message to the sweat glands which is located all over in our body, various places. The sweat glands, what sweat glands will do? They will secrete their perspiration through the skin. So, from this perspiration our body temperature gets down, and by this mechanism the negative feedback system maintains our normal body temperature. Coming to the positive feedback mechanism students, you will see in the positive feedback here the child, the neonate or we can say the newborn pushes himself or herself towards the cervix, that is the topmost lining of the uterus. They pushes their head towards the cervix and this act as stimulus, and they give signal which this signal send back to the brain. Now, what brain does? Brain gives message to the posterior lobe of pituitary gland को message देगा, and this posterior lobe of pituitary will release the oxytocin. Oxytocin stimulates the uterus to contract. More oxytocin, there is more contraction of the uterus as the baby head pushes more towards the cervix, and this will act as positive feedback until the baby releases from the delivery happens. The oxytocin makes more and more uterine contraction. See this diagram, nerve impulses from the cervix transmitted to the brain. Now, brain stimulate the posterior pituitary gland to secrete more and more oxytocin. This endocrine hormone oxytocin, which is then carried out through the systemic blood circulation and reaches towards the organ which is named uterus. Then oxytocin stimulates more and more uterine contractions and pushes the baby towards the cervix. Now, the head of the baby pushes against the opening of cervix. As the cervix open, the baby or the neonates is delivered well. So, coming to the various anatomical terminologies, it is divided into three types according to directional terms, plane of the body and various body cavities. So, see this directional terms, you will see in the diagram there is directional terms describe the position of the structures which are relative to the other structure of the locations which are present in our body. So, directional terms ke according there are two types of classification, superior or also known as cranial part of the body, and the second one is the inferior or caudal end of the body. So, superior means the upper half of the body in which our four hands are covering. The inferior or the caudal end is the lower end of our body in which we can cover the left half of the trunk. This is the trunk of our body, and the legs, that is hind leg, both of the legs covering the inferior or caudal end. Now, coming to the anterior or ventral. Anterior is the face side, front side we can say. The example is the kneecap is located on the anterior side of our leg. The another is the posterior, or it is the back portion or the dorsal side. Example, our shoulder blades are located at the posterior side of the body. Then the midline portion, this is the medial side. It is towards the midline of the body, and the best example explaining the medial part is the middle side of the foot. Medial, after then lateral side away from the midline of the body. These are the, we can say, right and left side as the lateral side. For example, the little toe which is located at the lateral side of our foot. Proximal end, towards or nearest the trunk. The main body is the trunk or the point of the origin of its part. Example of proximal end is the femur joint with the pelvic bone. You will see here the thigh bone, the pelvic cavity contains the pelvic bone, and the distal part, it is the away from, or the we can say the farthest from the trunk or the point of the origin of the part. The hand is located at the distal for the forearm. So, these are our hands which is distal to the forearm. Now, this is the planes of body. So, it is divided into four main planes. The first one is the coronal plane, or we can say it is the another name frontal plane. See the diagram, students, the upper topmost part, it is a vertical plane running from side to side, and this divides our body into right anterior as well as the posterior portions. The second one is the sagittal plane, or also known as the lateral plane. It is also a vertical plane which runs from front as well as back side and divides our body and the other parts of our body into right hand side as well as left hand side organs or the parts of our body. The third plane is the axial plane, or also known as transverse plane. It is the horizontal plane. See, clearly you can note it down. The above two is the vertical plane, while the axial and medial plane, students, these are horizontal plane and divides our body or any part of our body into the upper and the lower extremities. And last one is the medial plane. It is also known as the sagittal plane, and it is the midline, the central part of our body, and divides the organs in our body into the right and the left hand sides. Now, coming to the various body cavities. See the diagram, students. Cavities is the hollow space in our body. So, it contains various internal organs or viscera, and the body cavities are two types, students. The first one is the ventral cavity and the second one is the dorsal cavity. You will see in the right hand side, this is the ventral cavity which contains the thoracic cavity and the abdominopelvic cavity. Abdominopelvic means it contains the abdominal and pelvic cavity, while the second one you will see here, the dorsal cavity. It is the back side of the, that is posterior side of the body, and it contains spinal cavity and spinal, or it is also known as the vertebral column. So, cranial cavity, you will see in the brain, this is the cranial cavity and the vertebral column is the vertebral canal. So, here it is spinal cavity and the cranial cavity makes a dorsal cavity. So, this is all about first lecture of human anatomy and physiology. See you in the next lecture. Till then, take care. Thank you.